This is Tiny Win English, where English practice feels calm, useful, and close to real life.
Welcome back. If today was long, messy, or just strangely heavy, you are in the right place.
I'm Chloe.
And I'm Sam.
Maybe you're walking home right now.
Maybe you're washing dishes and pretending the sink is not that full.
Maybe you're on the sofa with one shoe still on.
Maybe you're hiding in the bathroom for 2 extra minutes before talking to anyone.
Quick check-in game before we begin. If your brain were a phone battery right now, what number would it show?
Mine says 14%, but emotionally I am acting like 62.
That is so real.
Maybe you were at 9% and still replying to messages like a hero.
Maybe you were at 30% and already negotiating with your blanket.
Or maybe you were at 3%, and this episode found you at exactly the right time.
Because today we're talking about something very specific when you are tired after work. How to keep learning with 1 minute of English.
Not one perfect hour, not one dramatic study session, 1 minute.
And our promise is simple. You will get real spoken English, useful expressions, and a practical life idea you can actually use tonight.
This episode is around B1 to B2 level, so some parts may sound a little richer, but we will keep things clear.
And if you miss a few words, that is okay. Stay with the main idea.
You do not need to understand every line to get something real from listening practice.
You can always come back later and you will catch more each time.
And if you like these quiet, practical talks, you can subscribe and stay with us.
And if you want, tell us in the comments what steals your English minute first after work. Your phone, your commute, your sofa, or your mood.
Mine is still the sofa, honestly.
Near the end, we will do a slow word tour with 10 useful words and phrases from today's episode.
So if you want vocabulary and shadowing practice, that part is coming.
Also, here is our image for today. 1 minute of English is your pilot light.
A pilot light is a small flame that stays on, so the whole system can start again more easily.
Exactly. After work, you do not need a bonfire.
You just need a small, steady flame.
So let's start with the hardest moment. The moment when you get home and your energy drops to the floor. Picture this. You open the door, put your bag down, and your body says, "No more decisions tonight."
Yes, your bag lands like a dead fish, your shoes are half off, and your soul is already in pajama mode.
This is the first truth. Many people try to study when they are already running on fumes.
Run on fumes means you keep going with almost no energy left, like a car with almost no gas.
And when you are running on fumes, your brain does not want a mountain.
It wants a chair, a snack, and an unreasonable amount of silence.
Right. So the first move is to lower the bar.
Lower the bar means make the task smaller and easier, not because you are lazy, but because you are being realistic.
If your usual idea of studying is 20 new words, a long video, and notes in 3 colors, tired you will reject it.
Tired me will reject it with personality.
That used to happen to me too. I would come home, open a lesson, see a long page, and feel resistance immediately.
Resistance is so sneaky.
And another useful word here is friction. Friction means a small difficulty that makes action less likely.
Like needing to choose the app, choose the lesson, find your headphones, remember your password, and suddenly your 1 minute has become a full emotional novel.
Exactly. One evening, after a teaching day, I stood in my kitchen holding a spoon and looking at my phone. I had planned to do 30 minutes of English listening, which is funny. Because I was so tired, I could barely choose dinner. I remember thinking, why do I always make a beautiful plan for a different woman?
That line hurts because it is true.
So I changed the rule. I said, before I sit down, I only need 1 sentence in English. Not a lesson, not progress. I can show off. 1 sentence.
What sentence?
Usually something plain like, today was heavier than I expected, or I want quiet more than motivation.
That is good English, by the way. Very real, very usable.
And it kept the pilot light on.
I had a similar disaster, but louder. For months I kept telling myself that after work I would do a full grammar block at my desk. I even made tea first, like a serious person. Then I would sit there, stare at the page, feel guilty for being tired, scroll for 10 minutes, and somehow end the night learning nothing except new facts about strangers on the internet.
That is so real.
The change came when I made the first minute almost too easy not to do. Before I changed clothes, I recorded one voice note in English. Just 1 minute, sometimes less. I would say, I am exhausted. My brain is soft. But here is one thing I noticed today.
And that matters because spoken English grows through small, real use, not only through beautiful study plans.
If this sounds like you are not weird.
If your energy disappears after work, this happens to a lot of people.
You do not need to prove discipline with suffering.
So make your English minute so small that tired you does not panic.
Think match, not fireworks.
Think pilot light, not performance.
And once the bar is lower, the next question is where to place that tiny minute so it happens without a daily argument.
So now we move from size to placement.
Right, because a tiny habit still needs an address.
Exactly. 1 minute works better when you attach it to something that already happens every day.
This is where the phrase on autopilot is useful. On autopilot means you do something almost automatically without much thinking,
Like washing your hands after coming home.
like waiting for the kettle,
Like standing in the elevator.
like staring into the fridge and hoping a meal will introduce itself.
If you connect English to one of those moments, your brain does not need a fresh decision.
And fewer decisions means less drama.
Here is the image. You are not building a new highway after work. You are clipping one small English moment onto an old keyring.
I like that. Your tired brain is already walking one path. You just hang English on the side of that path.
Yes. For me, one of the best cues was the kettle. When the water started heating, I had a rule. I had to say one thing in English before the water was ready.
That is elegant.
It was also very ordinary, which is why it worked. Sometimes I described my day. Sometimes I repeated one sentence from a podcast for shadowing. Sometimes I asked myself a tiny question like, what do I need tonight?
That last one is good life advice and good English practice.
And when I answered out loud, even with simple grammar, I got two things at once. I got speaking practice and I got self-awareness.
That is the sweet spot of this show, by the way.
Right. And there is another phrase I want to give you here, tiny win. A tiny win is a very small success that still counts.
It sounds small, but tiny wins change mood fast.
They do.
I used to think tiny wins were fake. I wanted cinematic success. I wanted the montage music. I wanted the notebook. I wanted a new life by Thursday.
Of course you did.
The one winter, I was getting home late, eating toast over the sink, and feeling bad every night because my English plan was always too big. So I made one ridiculous rule. Every time the train doors opened at my station, I had to say one English sentence before I reached the street. Just one.
What happened?
At first, it felt almost childish. But after a week, I noticed something important. I no longer ended the day with the sentence, I did nothing.
That is huge.
Because I did nothing is heavy,
Yes.
but I did 1 minute is light enough to carry into tomorrow.
Maybe you know this feeling. A small completed action can calm the whole evening.
You are not behind if your learning looks quiet.
So borrow motion from a routine you already trust.
Kettle, commute, toothbrush, elevator, microwave, door handle.
Let the routine carry the minute.
And once your English minute has a home, we need to make tomorrow easy too.
Because starting is one thing, but restarting is another.
Oh yes, the restart tax.
Exactly. A lot of people can do 1 minute once. The harder part is returning the next day without feeling lost.
That is why I love this phrase, pick up where you left off. It means continue from the last point instead of starting from zero again.
Tired learners need that feeling. Not begin a new system. More like, oh good, I know my next step.
Because when the next step is unclear, the brain fills with mental clutter.
Mental clutter means too many loose thoughts, open tabs, and unfinished decisions in your head.
My mind is a messy kitchen drawer with emotional receipts.
That image is terrible and accurate.
Thank you.
Here is a mini scenario. You listen to one useful sentence tonight. Great. But tomorrow you cannot remember which app, which episode, which minute, or which phrase.
Then your 1 minute becomes 12 minutes of searching, and the sofa starts smiling at you.
Exactly. That is friction returning in a new outfit.
So what do?
We leave breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs for tired, future you.
Yes. After your 1 minute, leave one easy sign for tomorrow. Save the exact clip. Screenshot the sentence. Write one line in notes. Or stop in the middle of a thought on purpose.
I love that one. Leave the sentence a little unfinished so your brain wants to return.
I started doing that with my notebook. Instead of ending with a neat summary, I would write, tomorrow. Explain this in simpler English. Then the next evening, I did not need motivation. I had a doorway waiting for me.
I learned this the hard way. I used to save everything, everywhere. One phrase in a notes app, one phrase in messages to myself, one phrase in a screenshot folder, one phrase in a notebook I could never find. It looked organized from far away and absolutely chaotic up close.
That is a classic case of mental clutter.
One Saturday I wanted to review after a long week, and I spent more time hunting my materials than using English. I felt ridiculous. Not because I was bad at English, but because I had made returning too hard.
So what changed?
One folder, one note, one running list called 1 Minute English. Nothing beautiful. But now when I am tired, I open one place and pick up where I left off.
This works for listening practice too. If you find one short clip that is good for you, do not act like you must always search for a better clip.
Yes. Repetition is not boring when your goal is real spoken English.
Repetition is how sounds become familiar.
Repetition is how shadowing gets easier.
If this sounds like your problem, please hear this. You are not failing because you need a simple system.
Simplicity is not a weak system.
So end every 1 minute session by making re-entry easy.
Leave the next stone in the path.
And even then, real life will still interrupt you.
So now we need to talk about what happens when the chain breaks for a few days.
This last part is probably the tender one.
Yes, because this is where shame usually tries to become the teacher.
Imagine a hard week. Overtime, late dinner, one surprise problem at work, then another. You miss your English minute on Tuesday, then Wednesday. Then suddenly it is Friday and your plan is sitting in the corner like a disappointed plant.
I know that plant.
In moments like that, many people say, I need to wait until I have energy again.
But sometimes you do need rest.
Right. And that gives us our next word, recharge. Recharge means get energy back after you feel empty.
Like charging your phone, but sadly for your human face.
Exactly. Some evenings, recharging means sleep, food, or silence. And some evenings, a 1 minute English habit can help you reconnect without draining you more.
That difference matters.
It does. 1 minute should not become another tool for self-punishment.
It should feel like touching the wall in a dark room and remembering where you are.
Beautiful. And then we need this phrase, show up. Show up means be present and do the thing, even in a small imperfect way.
Not perform. Just arrive.
Yes. A few years ago, I had one of those weeks when I felt emotionally flat after work. I was teaching, answering messages, solving small problems all day. And by evening, my brain felt like a wet towel. I missed several days of personal study and started hearing that old sentence in my head. See, this is why you never stay consistent.
That voice is rude.
Very rude. On the fifth evening, I did not restart with ambition. I stood by the sink and repeated one short line from an episode I already knew. Then I said one line of my own. I am not starting over. I am coming back.
Oh, that is good.
It changed the emotional meaning of the habit. I was no longer trying to become a perfect learner. I was simply showing up for 1 minute.
That sentence would help a lot of people.
I think so too.
I had a rough version of the same lesson. I missed 4 days once and reacted like I had ruined my entire future. Very calm, very mature.
Obviously.
I told myself I would restart on Monday with a proper plan. But then Monday became another big promise. So on Sunday night, while brushing my teeth, I said one line in English. I still belong in this language.
Wow.
It was dramatic, yes, but it worked. Because what I really needed was not a better planner. I needed to bounce back,
Bounce back means recover after a problem and return again.
and bouncing back is a real skill.
Maybe you know this feeling. Missing one day is normal. Missing several days is also normal. The danger is not the gap. The danger is the story that says the gap means you are the kind of person who quits.
You are not the gap.
You are the person who can return.
And for English learning, that matters so much. Because a language grows through contact. 1 minute of listening. 1 minute of shadowing. 1 minute of speaking out loud.
So measure consistency by how gently and quickly you come back.
Protect the pilot light, especially in windy weeks.
You do not need to burn bright every night.
You just need a way back.
So before our word tour, let's gather the thread. Tonight we build one simple idea. When work makes you tired, do not ask English to become a performance.
Ask it to stay alive.
Lower the bar.
Attach the minute to a routine.
Leave an easy next step.
And when life breaks the rhythm, bounce back kindly.
If you want more from this episode, replay it tomorrow during a small routine.
Use it as listening practice.
Pause and repeat lines that feel natural for you.
Shadow a sentence while the kettle boils or while you walk from the bus stop.
This is how real spoken English becomes yours.
Slowly, softly, and more honestly than you expect.
And now, word tour time.
Nice and slow.
Word 1, run on fumes.
Run on fumes means keep going with almost no energy left.
Example 1, after work I was running on fumes, so I studied for 1 minute only.
Example 2. When I'm running on fumes, I need simple English, not a big lesson.
Repeat after us. Run on fumes.
Slowly, run on fumes.
Word 2, lower the bar.
Lower the bar means make the task easier and smaller.
Example 1, I lowered the bar and listened to one short clip.
Example 2. If you are tired, lower the bar instead of quitting.
Say it with us. Lower the bar.
One more time, slowly lower the bar.
Word 3, friction.
Friction means a small obstacle that makes action harder.
Example 1, too many apps create friction.
Example 2. I remove friction by saving one lesson in advance.
Repeat, friction.
Slowly, freak, ton.
Word 4, on autopilot.
On autopilot means doing something automatically, without much conscious effort.
Example 1, I listen on the train because my commute is already on autopilot.
Example 2. Brushing my teeth is on autopilot, so I add one English sentence there.
Repeat, on autopilot.
Slowly, on autopilot.
Word 5, tiny win.
A tiny win is a very small success that still matters.
Example 1, one spoken sentence was a tiny win.
Example 2. My tiny win tonight was repeating one useful phrase.
Say it with us. Tiny win.
Slowly, tiny, win.
Word 6, pick up where you left off.
This means continue from your last point instead of starting again from 0.
Example 1, I saved the clip so I could pick up where I left off tomorrow.
Example 2. After dinner, I picked up where I left off and reviewed the same sentence.
Repeat, pick up where you left off.
Slowly, pick up where you left off.
Word 7, mental clutter.
Mental clutter means too many loose thoughts and open decisions in your mind.
Example 1, my mental clutter got worse when all my notes were in different places.
Example 2. A simple system reduces mental clutter.
Repeat after us, mental clutter.
Slowly, mental clutter.
Word 8, recharge.
Recharge means get your energy back.
Example 1, I needed 10 quiet minutes to recharge.
Example 2. This short walk helps me recharge before I study.
Say it with us. Recharge.
Slowly, recharge.
Word 9. Show up.
Show up means be present and do the thing, even imperfectly.
Example 1. I was tired, but I still showed up for 1 minute of English.
Example 2. You do not need to be amazing, just show up.
Repeat. Show up.
Slowly, show up.
Word 10. Bounce back.
Bounce back means recover and return after a problem or break.
Example 1. I missed 3 days, but I bounced back on Thursday.
Example 2. A tiny habit helps me bounce back faster.
Repeat after us. Bounce back.
Slowly, bounce back.
If you want shadowing practice, replay this word tour and speak with us line by line.
And remember, you do not need to remember everything today.
If 2 or 3 phrases stay with you, that is already useful.
Keep the pilot light on. That is enough for one evening.
You are doing better than you think.
Yes, especially if you are learning while tired and still trying to be gentle with yourself.
Here is the core lesson in 1 line. 1 minute of honest English can protect a long-term learning life.
Tiny homework for tonight. Choose one routine and show up for 1 minute of English there.
Before you go, tell us in the comments which routine will carry your English minute this week.
And if this episode helped you, you can subscribe and send it to one tired friend who keeps waiting for more energy.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for learning with us. And thank you for letting your real life into your English practice.
This is Tiny Win English with Chloe and Sam.
Keep your pilot light on, and we'll see you in the next video for another calm, real English conversation.